Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Welcome back. My name is Doña, aka Doña the Light, and today I have an incredibly special guest. My wonderful friend Isah is here today to talk to us about holistic wellness. If you're catching this live stream on Twitch, please feel free to contribute in the chat. Drop your thoughts, drop your opinions. We're here to have a community conversation. If you're catching this replay on YouTube, this is essentially going to play out like a video podcast. So you can just pop us on in the background and just listen in. Don't feel pressured to visually watch the video. We ain't gonna be doing nothing but just sitting here talking. But yeah, let's dive on in. Isah, thank you for being here, my love. It's been so long. But yeah,
I
tell
know.
us
Thank
about
you for
yourself.
inviting me.
Of course, of course. It's my pleasure. But tell us a little bit about yourself, boo.
So my name is Issa, like it's amazing. And I am a two-time, three-time, I can't remember any more time, combat veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently retired from the United States Army after serving for 25 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am also a personal trainer and a yoga instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And well, excuse me, I'm actually a yoga teacher. I do more teaching than instructing.
Yes.
And yes, there is a difference. But that's pretty much me. And I have a lovely little dog who is going through service dog training right now because
Nice.
even though I look like I'm physically fit as a fiddle, I'm not necessarily, as well as I have some mental health restrictions that or limitations that she is going to be able to assist me with. So she's going through service dog training at the moment.
I
But
love
that's
that.
pretty much me. To know me is to know that I'm an Army veteran, I'm a personal trainer, and I am a yoga teacher. And I'm a
Absolutely.
dog mom.
Absolutely. I want to let y'all know that to know Issa, Issa love Issa. I don't even remember how we met. I think it was in person at a girl convention. I think that's when
I
we finally met
okay,
in
your
person,
hair was
right?
different. Yes,
Yes. Oh
we
yeah.
did meet it. I have a picture
It
of
was definitely
us.
different.
I looked at it recently
Really?
and was like, "Is that well?" Because
Right.
there's other people in the picture,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
Like,
"Is
is that
that?"
Donya right there? Right? Is it?
I'll have to text it to you later.
Please do. But yes, to know Issa, Issa love Issa, and goodness, we could have a whole, which maybe I should ask Courtney to see if she want to come on. We could have a whole episode about Courtney Olsen and girl clothing, cause
Yeah.
goodness gracious. But anywho, to know Issa, Issa love Issa. What I not remember, what I think of when I think of Issa is her popping on Instagram in the morning and saying good morning to everyone. Where her cute little doggy Salt, who is the bestest doggy in the world, her genuinely having conversations with us like, yo, life is life in today, and my body is doing some things, okay? And
Right.
she was one of the first people who would really just keep it all the way real on a place like Instagram, and she wasn't doing it, to get people to like her post. She wasn't doing it to, like it wasn't about like clout or anything. It was just her being herself. She always had such a lovely, uplifting, and I would say bright. I'm not going to say positive because sometimes she'd be going through stuff that was kind of rough, but it was always bright and it was always consistent. Like it was always just Issa, and that's one of the things that I love the most about Issa is the way that she shows up as just herself all the time. She just you know what to expect. It's never like
It's
a
a gift and a
surprise.
curse.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I bet. But yeah, so today we're going to be discussing holistic wellness. And y'all know, based on conversations that I've had previously here on the stream, how much of I don't even know what to call it, but just how much I love all aspects of wellness, not just, the physical part, not just the mental part, but, the combination of those two and also all the other aspects of our wellness. So, Issa, I want to ask you, when you think of or when you hear holistic wellness, what does that mean to you?
So for me, holistic wellness, I like to keep everything super simple, especially as a teacher and a trainer. So I like to think of the trifecta. I call it a trifecta. So, and also I love three. Three is one of my numbers, but definitely understand that there are more than three that you can put into holistic wellness. But, three is a good wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's your physical, your mental,
Mm-hmm.
and your spiritual. And for me, holistic wellness is tapping into those three kind of when you need to.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a perfectly sliced pie that you're sharing with your triplet children.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be perfect, a perfect three at all times, but it's a whole. And you have three kind of big pies that you work within. So sometimes you're dealing with your physical strength, sometimes you're dealing with your mental strength, and sometimes you may just be dealing with your spiritual strength. But what I want people to understand is when I think of holistic wellness, it's one pie, not
Right.
three. So yes, you may focus on your strength training, but do not let your mental and your physical completely be depleted.
Right.
And a lot of people tend to do their health in a vacuum. I've even done it in a vacuum, but I feel like you get much better results if you go for kind of all three of them in some aspect. So it's tittering back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't, like, I think it's unhealthy, or I've learned that it's unhealthy to do just one. Like, you can't be all namaste, but you steady think the world is against you and cursing people out left
Right.
and right
Right. Right. Right.
and not being physically present. Like, wait, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or you being on namaste, like, but you eating things that are not conducive to what your body actually needs.
Right.
And I put nutrition in the realm of like that strength training kind of stuff too, because whatever your physical modalities are, it needs to be properly fueled as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
I always kind of put nutrition in that triangle. But yeah, you can't be all, I'm being very mindful, but you're eating things that's going to cause joint inflammation.
Right.
No, that's not going to work.
Mm-mm.
So with you being mindful and being in the here and the now,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing to keep your body active, keep your joints active, keep your joints healthy,
Right.
whatever healthy means for you and your body? And then what are you doing to keep your soul fueled at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this you don't have to do it all in a vacuum. And you don't have to do all the things at all the time, because for some people that's not mentally healthy either.
Right.
You find what balance works for you
Mm-hmm.
and what works for you at this moment. Because what
Exactly.
worked for me 3 years ago when we met, Doña, does not work for me right now
No,
today
ma'am.
in these January 2023s.
Right.
It is not the same.
Times is different. Bodies is different. Okay.
Right. I'm different. Yeah, I'm
Right.
different. Um, and so being able to move within that realm is what I really try to preach, no matter if I'm talking to my personal training clients or if I'm talking to my yoga students. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna always come at it from a holistic approach. So that's kind of what it means to me.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, there's so many little nuggets that you shared, but the first thing that resonated with me was thinking back to right before the Pandalaria hit. Uh, I was being so consistent in the gym, and my whole goal in the gym was to get stronger. That was my goal. Yes, having tree trunks for legs was a beautiful after effect, but my whole goal was to get stronger, and I really legitimately wanted to do some sort of like weightlifting or strong woman or some kind of competition like that. And I remember thinking, there was a gentleman there who was a personal trainer, and we would chat every once in a while, and he would give me like little tips here and there, and he ended up really, really helping me change and improve my squat because if there's one thing about going to the gym, it's so easy to compare yourself to others, right? You see somebody else squatting and you immediately think like, is my squat supposed to look like that? Is my bar pass supposed to look like that? Am I supposed to warm up like this person? You're having all of these questions inside of your mind. In reality, like you mentioned several times, is that it's about you. It's about what works for you. But I remember going through this warm up that he asked me to try, and it was like mentally difficult. It was mentally difficult for me to go through this workout because he told me that I need to make sure that my quadricep muscles are warm. He told me a couple things to do to help strengthen my patellar tendon, just little things, but things that I had never done before. So, he's breezing through it because he's a personal trainer. He's at the gym, so he's kind of breezing through it because he's got clients to get to. And I'm going through these movements, and I'm like, yo, like what? I'm like, my feelings are almost hurt because this is difficult for me, and I had not really experienced anything that was that mentally difficult for me at the gym, only physically difficult. Like I'm lifting weights, I'm adding, I'm squatting, 115. Now I'm gonna go up to 125. I feel that physical difference, that physical difficulty in me physically lifting more weight, but to have to remind myself not only that it's okay to be a beginner, it's okay for this not to look perfect, it's okay for this to be kind of a learning curve, especially because I'm in the area of the gym where there's just squat racks. There's no mirrors or anything for me to kind of watch myself and see if I'm doing the movement correctly and all this stuff. And I'm just having this strange, like almost out of body experience. Like, am I about to cry in the gym right now?
Oh, I cried at the gym, honey. I
I'm
cried at
getting
the gym.
emotional. But yeah, I just love how you mentioned, those three areas. And of course, again, like you mentioned, I said mention like 6 times. They don't necessarily have to be all perfect. My math brain is like, yeah, 33.333, 33.333, 33.333 percentage. They don't all have to be that in order to come up to that 100%. Like you mentioned, that day I thought that I was going to be like, 95% physical. But in reality, it was more so, like 50-60% physical and like 40-50% mental. And I had no idea, and I wasn't prepared for that because my focus on my mental needs was not as strong as my focus on my physical needs. I
Right.
was definitely paying attention to what I was eating. I was paying attention to inflammation. I was paying attention to drinking more water and all that stuff. But I was not paying attention to my mental needs. So I really appreciate that you kind of illustrated the importance of having that trifecta, but also moving in a way that allows yourself to be flexible.
Right.
Because it wasn't until way after that I began placing more emphasis on my spiritual needs, or even acknowledging my spiritual needs at all. Um,
Right.
so, what would you say are some of your like regular daily spiritual needs?
The do not disturb on my phone.
Mm.
That
Talk about it. Yes,
that
well.
one kind of titters between a physical and a mental need,
Okay.
honestly. But I'll to know me and Instagram is to also know that I definitely value a particular time of day. And so that's where again the do not disturb comes into play because I don't turn my phone goes on do not disturb at 8:30 at night,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on from 8:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning,
Love it.
and it does it automatically for me. So, and then my
Mm-hmm.
phone will also at 9:30, no, some kind of way at 10 o'clock, if I'm still on my device, the bedtime timer will kick on to tell me like, hey, you're supposed to be in bed right now.
Right.
So I do that so the 8:30 at night is so that I have the time and space to wind down.
Mm-hmm.
And my bedtime is 9:30, but it gives me time that if anybody from my family or something wants to talk to me, they know 8 o'clock I need to talk to me. 8:30, if you got to hang up and call me back, you're not getting back through
Right.
because the kind of energy exchanges that I have with people, I get drained.
Right.
And so if Doña was to call me at 8:25 at night, we're gonna key,
Mm-hmm.
and my energy is gonna be up, and now I'm gonna have a hard time coming back down by
Right.
9:30 because
Yeah.
we didn't keyed all night long.
Right.
And so again, that reminder from my phone that it's like, hey, boom, no more calls are getting through after 8:30,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can start to wind down for the day. I can turn my lights off for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and get set to go to bed. And then in the morning, my morning time, I have an entire morning routine that no matter what time I wake up, but usually I wake up around the 4:30, 5 o'clock hour. And then by 6:30 is when I can now face other people and start giving energy away. But
Right.
even if I wake up late, my morning routine still kind of does its thing.
Mm-hmm.
So 6:30 was an arbitrary time, but it's what I stick to. And so when I get up, somewhere in between there, I'm going to drink a warm beverage, usually coffee. Drink a warm beverage. I'm going to decide what my affirmation or my mantra for the day is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to greet the world via Instagram usually.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that's the most adjustable
Yeah.
for me, because I'm doing it to give my love to the world first thing. I come on Instagram to share my love, my joy, and give
Mm-hmm.
my smile away because some people may not get a smile at all that day.
Yeah.
So now they have all day to log on and get my smile,
Right.
because I started early.
Yes.
And then I will do some sort of journaling or some sort of meditation. If I'm home, I'm going to go walk my dog. If I'm not at home, I'll just go outside and get grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually by 8:30, that's my cue that it's time to start moving the day forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'll usually go do a workout or a yoga session or take my dog for an extended walk or go to the gym after that. But all of that is but I need that time where nobody else is interrupting me. And I
Yes.
know that this is absolutely my time for me,
Right.
whether I want to journal, whether I want to listen to Deepak Chopra, whether I want to just sit outside and inhale the fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I know, or whether I want to go work out because my body is craving it, like right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
That's that protected time that I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to explain it away or anything like that. My family, my friends, they know. You can call if you want, but you're not gonna get through,
Right. Right.
you know. So
Yeah. And that's such a
it's a it's
beautiful
a it's a
example.
very strong boundary for
Yes, I
me.
was just about to say a beautiful example of boundaries because
Yeah.
you can call. You can call, but what I'm not gonna do is pick up.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
gonna.
And
I'm
if
not gonna be there.
my mom and my brother are the only ones that can get through that one, that do not
Mm-hmm.
disturb. And in the morning, they know if they call the first time, I'm still not answering.
Right.
Because most likely I'm doing something literally on the phone anyway.
Right.
And so, and it makes them think twice, like, oh, shoot, that's right. And then if they do call the second time, it's a clear understanding that it's an emergency.
Right. Right.
So then it's like, okay, well, yeah, everything else is, you take a back seat to whatever the family emergency is. But
Right.
there's only two, and the rest of my family knows there's only two people
That's it.
that can get through that do not disturb. So again, if it's important, y'all better call Elgin first,
Mm-hmm.
tell him, and then Elgin will call to be like, hey, you need to know this right now.
Yeah, this is going on. Yeah, and it's urgent in
Yeah.
this way. Yeah, definitely. I feel that, and I love that so much. I love the intention behind your sleep and wake up times. That it's not just some arbitrary number that you picked. You know, but the beautiful thing about going to sleep at the time that you do and waking up at the time that you do is that, oh bless you, is that you give, bless you, sir, okay, is that you give yourself that space and time. I literally watched a TikTok this morning, in which this person was talking about, you know, the reason why a lot of us aren't alarm people is because as soon as the alarm goes off, we're running off and rushing to go do something. We're running off and rushing to go serve someone, get the kids, walk our dog. Like, we're immediately waking up to go do something for someone else. Right. Rarely are we ever just waking up to give ourselves the time to wake up. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself time to wake up. Give yourself time to breathe the fresh air. Give yourself time to, you know, I've seen all kinds of things like dry brushing and just, you know, yoga sessions, whatever. Like, give yourself time to ground yourself. Bring your life back into your body. You know, right. You were literally just fasting from all kinds of things. You were fasting from light. You were fasting from food. You were fasting from people, you know, over the past 8-9 hours that you've been asleep. And now immediately the world expects you to just wake up.
They want something from you. As soon as that's how I was with the military, which is also one of the reasons I'm very huge about making my bed. Right. Before I ever even read the book. I only read the book because so many people thought that me making my bed in the morning was because of the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but he was military, so once I read the book, I was like, I mean, it's the same reasoning though. Exactly. Before I can give myself away for the day, let me accomplish something and let me create some form of order and discipline in my day in the most simplest form. And so that's what I do, because then also after I've completely been depleted, at the end of the day, I come and I get to snuggle in my order and my discipline, which is my made bed. I totally understand why it doesn't resonate with other people, with some people, but that I'm an order and discipline kind of person. So it resonates with me that it's like, I'm going to do this for myself right now. And I enjoy it now that my dog, she gets into it and it becomes a whole funny thing where she wants to play across the bed, you know, but it's just doing something for myself before I go and do something. It's me putting my mask on before I put someone else's on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really believe that that's a huge part of, you know, that trifecta. You know, making all aspects of yourself, making your spiritual wellness, your mental wellness, your physical wellness, making all of those the first thing that you do of the day. And it's really funny because, you know, I'm a mother. I got this brand new, you know, noodle baby right here. And I totally understand. I totally understand and empathize with parents who, you know, are thinking, well, I can't do that because, etc. You know, exhibit A. But the reality is we can. We just have to be creative. We have to be a little bit more disciplined, honestly, because the honest truth is this dude has a routine. Like, typically he will wake up at like 5 or 6 o'clock. Excuse me, he'll be waking up and doing karate. Like, just, I'm awake. Like, everybody around me has to be awake. And me and my husband are like, oh, okay, so it's time? Okay, cool. But we get up, you know, we change his diaper. We give him maybe 15-20 minutes of just flailing around, and then he's ready to go back to sleep. And then I'm like, all right, I'm cool for at least an hour. You know, DJ be chilling. He ain't got no reason to wake up. He don't even have to be in class until like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So he's just hanging out. So I just have to be aware enough to get used to these routines, you know what I mean? To say, all right, cool. Right after the baby falls back asleep, you know, then I'll do blank. You know, or right after this happens, then I'll do blank. And then you could disappear, you know, you can go and create an area, a space, whatever, in which you can just exist. You know, I really believe that a lot of us need to be more intentional with existing on our own, regardless of, you know, being married or being parents or whatever. Like, you still need time to tend to you as a person. And if you want to invite your partner, children, whoever, that's fine. But there still should be situations more than not in which you are tending to those, on your own. And honestly, like you said, you acknowledge that, even salt knows the deal when it comes to your bed. The more that we establish and not establish, but the more that we are consistent with our routines, just like your boundary with your family about the phone calls, people start to realize this is normal. This is not
Right.
her just doing this on some random Tuesday. Oh my goodness, I can't believe she didn't answer my call. Yada yada yada. No, she's told us about this. Not only did she tell us about it, but she enforced it. She said,
Right.
"You can call me whenever you want, but I'm only gonna answer between these times." Point
Right.
blank. Period. You know what I mean? And it's easy for me to even have that conversation with DJ. Like he understands usually around 2 o'clock. I'm like, all right, dude, it's time to chill out. And he's like, it's time to take a nap. And I say, you don't have to take a nap, but you're going to hang out in your room. You're just going to hang out in your room and you're going to, you can play on your tablet, you can watch TV, you can play with your games, you can do whatever you like. And typically I'll tell him, mommy's going to take a nap or, mommy's going to be in the office doing whatever. But I create that boundary. And, he knows that if he needs something, sometimes he'll come and ask me to take 2 Legos apart or something like that. And then he'll go right back in his room, But it's something that I've established with him for a long time, especially because 2 o'clock for a long time was his nap time. So he just knew, all right, 2 o'clock, I already had lunch. It's time for me to start whatever. But it really is just the consistency. And I really believe that what trips most people up is the start of that routine. Because that when you're making that new habit, it's hard. It's so
Of course
hard.
it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But how would you encourage someone to get over that, I don't even know what to call it. I was going to say crunchy part, but
Honestly, honesty. Actually, that's the answer. The answer is honesty. Be honest with yourself about what you need and be honest with your circle about what you need. But you can't be honest with them if you're not honest with yourself. Like if you don't know, and that's the thing, it's like what is it that you actually need? What is that?
right.
So again, for me, because I people drain me,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I legitimately need space
Mm-hmm.
before I get in the bed,
Right.
or it's going to disrupt because I already have very disruptive sleep from all the mental health kind of things.
Right. Right.
So I know I had to finally just be honest
Mm-hmm.
with not only with myself but with other people. And we now have the language
Mm-hmm.
where it's introvertness,
Mm-hmm.
not shyness, introvertness. And I had to let other people know, like, what that means for me is y'all drain the crap out of me. So
Right.
I cannot talk to y'all
Right.
around bedtime
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to carry it to sleep with me.
Yes.
So I had to be honest. I had to be honest with myself. And it didn't feel good
Mm-hmm.
to be like, dang, you don't want to talk to your mama?
Right.
Not around bedtime, I don't.
And
Nope,
see, the
I
answer's not
don't.
no. It's just not at this time.
Not at this time. I
Right.
love you, but I love me more.
Got to.
So with
Got to.
that, when someone's trying to set a routine, be honest about what you truly need
Mm-hmm.
and don't be greedy.
Yeah.
It's brand new. Like, don't be greedy yet.
Right.
Don't be greedy yet. Don't be like, okay, I'm putting my do not disturb on at 6:30 p.m. as soon as I get home from work. Okay, you're doing too much. You're being a little greedy. Ease into it.
They're like, you
Ease
doing
into
what
it.
now?
Right,
On the
hold
job,
on.
like I thought you was
You
on
can't
call. Wait a minute.
right. Don't be cutting the whole world off as soon as you walk through the door. Like, so baby step it,
Yes.
baby step it. Because at first mine was 9 o'clock.
Right.
Well, first my bedtime used to be 10.
Uh huh.
Now it's 10:30, and it's been 10:30 pretty consistently for about 5, 7 years.
About 50, 11 years,
50, 11 years now, but yeah, so my do not disturb used to go off right when it was bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started figuring out that didn't work. So then I started
Mm-hmm.
backing it out, backing it out, backing it out.
Right.
My do not disturb used to cut on at 6 o'clock. And then I started change. I just started playing with it. You got to find what works and understand that the first try may not. You may not hit the bullseye the first time. You may not
Right.
find that sweet spot yet,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
keep the intention of why you're doing it and what is it you want.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for someone else, that boundary may simply be I don't know, that's my biggest boundary. I don't have a whole lot of them, you know. So I don't have a lot of examples to pull from. My biggest boundary is that do not disturb time.
Yeah.
That is my number one boundary. Like, please don't
Right.
be calling me late at night. Don't expect me to go out late at
It's like as
night.
soon as you meet Issa, she's like, "Hi, my name is Issa. I just want to let you know
I
you
go to
can't
bed at
contact
nine
me
thirty.
between these times."
Right. My office hours are between the times
Right.
of that.
Exactly.
What I got for y'all. Like, it is a very known thing about me
Yeah.
where we will literally be out with friends on those random occasions, those one-offs,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll go, okay, now y'all know it's about to start tapping out on us. Cause y'all know her bedtime is 9:30. Y'all
Right.
know it is.
Right.
They're like, you're retired though.
Ain't got nothing to do with that, baby.
Don't insert your whatever into my routine is established
Yes.
whether I work
Yes.
a full-time job or
Yes.
not.
I
It's
love
gonna
it.
be because, again, as we've discussed, I put a lot of thought
Mm-hmm.
into what I need in that space and time. So whether I work for the army or I work for myself teaching yoga,
Right.
I still need that. I still need this time, this protected space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't know if that
God.
really answered the question, but honestly, you got to be
Absolutely.
honest with yourself and be honest with
Absolutely.
other people.
And I believe, I mean, in that honesty, like, make sure you communicate. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to say, okay, baby. It's one thing to say, like, oh my goodness, I'm just realizing about myself that I get really drained from people. And then, you're feeling good because you've come to this realization, right? You've come to this level of awareness. We're like, all right, I have words for it now. I have the vocabulary. And then people ask you why, and you're like, well, because I said so. Like, that
Right.
doesn't feel good
So
on the
that's
receiving end either. Especially
I
like
had a
someone like your mom,
whole
who loves you.
right. Oh, I had a whole realization that I think I even talked about it on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
because somebody, and so I came up with like my three main things about boundary setting.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is you have to communicate the boundary.
Yes.
So again, like, how unfair is it that you got arrested for coming on somebody's property when
Mm-hmm.
you didn't even know it was somebody's property? You thought this was a
Right.
public space.
Right. Wasn't no fence. There's a park next door. Like, how do you know?
Right, but now you want to get mad. And I legitimately was pissed one night
Mm-hmm.
because someone called me at like 9:15, 9:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you they didn't want nothing,
Uh,
they just called to babble about the same stuff that we babble on about at 2 p.m.
right.
And
Mm.
I told them when they
Mm-hmm.
called and was like, hey, what you doing? I said, well, I'm laying in the bed.
Right.
And they was like, oh, okay. So blah, 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 blah. And I let them go for 10 minutes and then
Mm-mm-mm.
hung up the phone and was livid.
Right.
I was livid. And then I had to check my own self.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? That was absolutely my fault.
Right.
I was like, because this person was absolutely being who that person is.
Yes.
Absolutely. That person was being
Yes.
exactly who that person is and who I have accepted that person to be, who I know that person is to
Exactly.
be. I know how she is.
Yes.
And one, I answered the phone. So I just allowed her to walk over my boundary.
Yep.
And two, I didn't hang up.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my
So it was
goodness.
like, that was my fault. One,
Yeah.
she, at the time, she didn't know
Yeah.
that, which is why now my phone does the do not disturb when it does now.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually because of this particular incident. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like, hey, I need to now communicate to you that I don't take phone calls this late at night.
Right.
And not only do I not take phone calls, let me not take the phone call.
Right.
What? why was I answering her phone at 9? Why was I answering the phone at 9:30?
Because he was mad. He was like, the audacity.
Right. I was like, I answered the phone, and then when she said, "What you doing?" and I said, "In the bed," I continued to let her talk. So
Right.
I continued to let her tap dance all over my boundaries, and then I got the audacity to be mad.
Right.
No, that's not how that works, boo boo. You got to be responsible
She
for
said,
yourself.
stop, stop, stop. You was like,
She was
how dare you?
right. She was crip walking.
Right.
Oh, I'm telling you for like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh my
And finally I was
goodness.
like, "Hey, I'm sleepy.
Right.
I was in the bed when you called."
Right. Literally.
Oh, right,
Literally.
literally the back of my eyelids. So yeah. So please set your
Oh.
boundaries, communicate your boundaries,
Yes.
and then adhere to your own boundary.
Absolutely.
So that means
Absolutely.
also, like for me, I can't be making phone calls at 9:30 at night every other night,
Right. That's true.
because then that's why again you have to be clear and honest about what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk to people
Right. Right.
late at night before you go to bed or not?
Right. Absolutely.
So whatever, however that translates for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're using specifically my boundary, but apply, apply it where you see fit. People
Right.
that are listening to
Put
this,
this puzzle piece where it needs to go.
right? Put it where it needs to go.
Oh my goodness. Brustock said, what's that called when you play victim to a situation you cause? I don't know.
Playing the victim,
I was gonna say, is it called something else?
doing doing the most.
Right.
That's what it's called.
Doing the most. Raylene says, can you give an example of saying a boundary to someone, like word for word? Ooh.
Uh, do you got a boundary example? Because if not, I'm gonna keep using
I'm
9:30 at
I'll
night.
give you an example. So an example would be a physical boundary, like a touch boundary. Every time
Oh,
I see you, um, it's gonna be weird. Every time I see you, I say, "Hey, Isah," and I rub my hand on the back of your head, and I say, "I love your hair, girl." And then also, I'm a 75-year-old,
okay.
and I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Ooh, see, this one touches my heart because I've had this one
Oh
I have sister locks.
no!
Okay, so I understand that it's not a common occurrence, especially when you titter around the world like I do in
Right.
places where they barely even seen a black person,
That part.
let alone locks, let alone sister locks.
That part. Too many layers of shookedness. Okay.
Right. So here is my way. I got two ways. I got the sugar and I got the spice.
There you go.
I find that they are both effective depending. So the sugar way is just like, ooh, hey, I don't like people in my hair. Please don't touch my hair. But
There you go.
it is a very intentionally worded request.
Right.
Like please, because I use the word please,
Mm-hmm.
but please don't touch my hair. Or, like, or could you ask me like, hey, are you interested in my See, now we're about to get spicy. We're about to get spicy. So, but that's how you set one of the boundaries. Is you just clearly you state it.
Yeah.
Make it. That saying "no" is a complete sentence,
Mm-hmm.
which means a sentence ends in a period. So
Right.
don't say, "Can you not touch my hair?" That's a question.
Right.
Don't touch my hair. That's an explanation point. No, no, no. No is a complete sentence. Do not touch my hair.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or just simply say, I don't like people to touch my hair.
Right.
I find my hair very sacred. I don't like people in my hair.
Mm-hmm.
All of those complete sentences.
Right.
Those aren't questions. Those aren't explanation points.
Right.
Now, that sugar of it all is, I don't know where your hands been.
Right. That part.
The spice is gonna be, I don't know where your hands been. Don't do that. Or, ooh, what we not gonna do is see that's spicy. And depending on who it is, if it's like my mom, somebody,
Mm-hmm.
they understand my spice.
Right.
But and so I say spicy because I'm going to lead with the reason
Mm.
in however fun way I can say it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna lead with it in a way that you understand. So again, when we're talking about somebody want to put their hands in your hair,
Right.
my reasoning, which I rarely give reasons to why I do things because it ain't my no is enough.
Right.
But if I'm gonna get spicy, I'm be like, I don't know where your hands been.
Right.
Or I'm like, okay, I don't know what y'all do at y'all house, but over here, we don't touch other people's hair.
Right.
That's not what we do. And so I mean, you could find a situation, and I can sugar and spice both of them. Again,
If y'all want more,
ooh, I
drop
don't.
them in the chat.
Right, right, drop them in the chat. Give me another one. I got you. Because again, when it comes to calling me too late, be like, ooh, we don't talk that late unless we fucking.
Right.
That's spicy. That's spicy.
Keep it all the way real. All the
The
way
the
real.
sugar way is I go to bed at 9:30. So I'm not taking calls after 8:30 at night.
Right.
That's the sugar way.
And so you got the chat
Spicy.
cutting up. Everybody laughing. Talking about give me the spice. Y'all better give her some more examples while we still got her, okay?
I totally forget that there's actually people watching you live. I'm legit thinking it's just me, you, and the baby. Me, you, the baby, and the creators.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And the
Okay.
Alexa in this Airbnb.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't forget about Alexa. She at work. She don't never leave
Always.
you alone. Oh my
Shoot, y'all better
goodness.
drop them in there. We can set some boundaries, baby. I can give a whole
Right.
class on setting some boundaries.
Come
We
on, Portia.
set them boundaries. Look,
I'm
cash
saying.
at me.
I'm saying. It's it.
I will send you a voice note to play for your
Right.
friend.
Say this word for word.
Word for word. Just give me
Word
your phone. Let me
for
text it.
right. Same. I'll be doing the same thing. Come here, girl. Just give me a phone.
let,
I don't
let me
even
do.
trust you to reiterate what I'm saying correctly. Just give me a phone.
You're right.
Give me a phone.
But what I will say though, even when I give people no's, because this has helped me with my physical, with my spiritual and my mental, because I'm very good at no's. Again, I could teach a whole class
Mm-hmm.
about the honoring the no's.
Mm-hmm.
Lead with love.
Yeah.
Still lead with love, even if it's love you, love me more.
Mm-hmm.
Lead with love
Yeah.
because we're not trying to be a-holes out here.
Right. Yeah.
So even because again, my boundary is not about me being an a-hole to you. It's about me protecting my space
Right.
so that I can show up as a better me
Mm-hmm.
for you.
And I believe
If you
that,
lead with love.
little baby, little little baby.
But what we not gonna do is put your
Right.
hands in
What we're
my
not gonna do
hair.
is eat mommy's headphones. No, this is why I need wireless
Oh,
headphones. Okay. Anyways, another thing that I love about leading with love is the fact that at the end of the day, mentally and spiritually, you are going to feel better if you lead with love. Because there's going to be less of like a, did I do too much? Ugh, I said that really mean. Like, I was actually the a-hole in that, what is it called? The Reddit thing? AITA? Am I the asshole? Like, yeah, I was, when I said that to them. And sometimes in being the a-hole, we're not communicating as clearly, because we're leading with,
anger
yeah, we're not leading
or
with love.
defensiveness
Yeah,
or
frustration.
hurt
Mm-hmm. We're
or
leading with something
frustration.
different. And so we don't communicate as clearly. Sometimes our point actually isn't really even made, because instead of saying, what we're not going to do, is touch other people's hair. I don't like that. You just, pop back and start, popping people. You're still
Right,
not communicating what your boundary is. It's just
right,
evident that, that frustrated you. But maybe it just frustrated you because you're not in a good mood right now. It's not evident to me as a person receiving that pop that every single time I approach you, you don't want me to touch your hair. That's not,
right.
so you still have to say those things in one way or another. You still have to communicate that clearly, what your boundary is, so that that person doesn't do it again. And then, okay, so
Right.
Isah, so now we going back, right? Because we gotta continue. So I see you again. and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I do it again. You say to me, what we're not going to do is touch other people's hair. Like, I don't know what y'all do at your house. And I'm like, oh, my bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm reasoning it to myself, like, oh, you know what? She just got a retwist. Like, she's just probably feeling, maybe her head's still a little tight. Like, she's just in a mood or whatever. And then the next time I see you a couple weeks later, I do it again. Now, how would you communicate the consequence for that boundary to me?
I'm going to lower my voice
Mm-hmm.
because when you lower your voice, it draws people in.
Yes.
And so I'm going to lower my voice
Mm-hmm.
and say, do not touch my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like people touching my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, anything beyond that, I'm just going to be ignorant. I'm going to be ignorant after that. I'm going to be ignorant. I'm going to make a scene because what we're not going to continue to do is cross my boundary and make me uncomfortable.
Right.
No. So now I'm going to start making you uncomfortable. Right. So yes, I may start legit saying every time, like, oh, so that's what y'all do? Mm. Did you wash your hands before you? Right. I don't know if you've been digging in your nose. I don't. Like, I'm getting ready to make a whole scene. Right. If you're going to continue to cross my boundary after we've talked about it twice. Because, right, the first time you probably assumed a couple of things here and there. You don't want to believe my no. Right. But I'm gonna draw you in close and lower my voice because that usually gets people's attention. And I'm going to say it very much like a sentence. So that, again, you're removing the doubt. You're removing the question. You're removing the emotional attachment. And it's like, no, this is just a statement. Do not touch my hair. Right. That's just a statement. Do not touch my hair. Just don't do it. I do not like my hair touched. Right. I do not like this boundary crossed. Because then after that, it'll be like, why do you insist on touching my hair? When you why do you insist on touching my hair? Why don't you respect me enough to not touch my hair? Let's talk about it. I'm flipping it back on you now. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, I go back to my actual boundary. I had to call my mom out. Right. She called me one day while I was here in Costa Rica. She called me one day at like 10 o'clock at night. Because she was excited about something. And of course, she knows she gets through. And of course, I answered because I genuinely thought it was an emergency. Yeah, yeah. So I answered, and my heart was up. My heart was racing. Yeah. Like, why is she calling me? My sister just had a double mastectomy. Like, surely this is it. And when she started talking about this party she went through, I said, Miss Kushma? I was like, excuse me, ma'am. She's like, huh? I cut her off. Like, I cut her off mid-sentence when it took like 2 minutes for me to realize this conversation is a conversation that can be had at 2:30 in the afternoon. Right. I was like, excuse me, Miss Kushma. She goes, yeah, what's up, babe? I said, did you really just call me at 10:30 at night and woke me up to tell me about a party you could tell me about at 2 p.m.? And she was like, oh, babe, yeah, you're right. I was so excited about it. Oh, you're absolutely right. I have to call you later. Talk to you later. Bye. Right. Click it, and we're done. Right. I made it very lighthearted, but Mama, you tripping. Right. My heart, y'all gotta know. I got PTSD. Yeah. So you call me that late at night, my brain is going someplace. Right. You scary. Already putting on shoes, clothes, trying to book a plane because ticket. I legit used to have to do it for work. So I'm like getting fully awake before I answer the phone. Right. I'm up, glasses on. We finna have to. Right. Yeah. And you want to tell me about a dang gone party? I know you didn't. Okay, so you know what? Before I get mad at you, we got to get off this phone call. Right. And she was like, oh. Because I put it back out to her like that, like, excuse me, ma'am,
Right.
what are we doing?
Ma'am, you done lost your mind.
Right.
Mm,
And problem solved. But that's how you have to address it. You have to address the boundary that's being crossed for your sake.
right.
And don't be uncomfortable. I'm not going to be uncomfortable about my boundary. No,
Right. Right.
you be uncomfortable about crossing it. Same way when you break in somebody's house,
Mm-hmm.
they're uncomfortable, not me.
Right. Exactly.
I can stay in my bed. I can stay in my bed comfortably, knowing that my alarm is getting ready to deter you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love it.
Your people probably like, who is this crazy lady she
Oh no,
just
they
put
love it.
on here?
They love. Ain't
Who
nobody
is
in my
this
chat but a
silly
bunch of
guy?
black people. Look,
Uh,
uh,
hey,
they
boo.
they all know what's going on. Spowich said this look. Is that Riley? That's Riley. Is it Riley? Is Riley the young one? I forget from the Boondocks. This look. Then I'm gonna say real sweetly. You want to keep that hand, baby?
Okay. You don't
Just
go back with a nub.
right. You know, Issa can take it off quickly too, without even batting an eye. Just gonna walk away with a nub. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, Bruce Rock said like full flight, fight, flight, or freeze. Yes, when you get those phone calls, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because not only was it late, but it was also mom that was calling. You know what I mean? So there's a special little. Get
Right.
my shirt, y'all. My baby done did me wrong. God, spit hearts. Anyways, um. Oh, Bruce Rock said I'm white, but I know about the hair thing very well. Bruce Rock, tell us
Thank
about
you.
it. Tell us
Tell
about
your
it, Bruce Rock,
clients.
because if you've experienced it, let's hear about it, because it's not, it's weird. Like, that's a whole nother conversation we could have about hair, because yes, it's.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask you, Issa, at what point of me touching your hair over and over again would you just cut contact off from me to me from me?
Um,
Like, do you feel
to the
okay?
point where it absolutely when it makes me not want to be around you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit dependent upon the person.
Yeah, it depends on the because again, and all boundaries aren't hard line boundaries.
Right. Yeah.
So there are some boundaries that I have set that like the hair thing, the hair touching thing. That is one of mine. Like I don't like people to just come up and touch me, touch my
Right.
hair. But I also don't. I just don't like to be touched like that.
Right.
So that would have been a good one. Hugs.
Right.
So again, it depends on how strong you feel about hugs
Mhm.
or not.
Mhm.
Will determine kind of when you cut someone off when you know that again they're genuine. That's them. So
Right.
again, like the person I was talking about who I know how they talk
Mhm.
and they just want to talk.
Right. Yeah.
There becomes times where I just won't talk. I just want to answer the phone.
I
I
feel
don't care if
that.
they call me at 2 p.m.
I feel that.
I just want to answer it
Right.
because it's at a point where it makes me uncomfortable and it drains me,
Mhm.
and so I just can't show up for you.
Right.
So if it's someone who I know, I had a boss who could not keep his hands to himself,
Mm.
but he was like that. He honestly was like that with everyone.
Mhm.
But because my PTSD was so high, it really used to bother me. And
Oh
we
yeah.
had kind of exhausted a lot of the solutions.
Mhm.
And so I basically was like, I don't want to work in his office anymore.
There you go. Yeah. Protect yourself.
Because I was like,
Absolutely.
it's really nothing to report, like to
Mm.
HR, the military version. Like, it's really, he's not violating these things because he does it to everyone.
Mm.
And he would try to call me out because I would call him out.
Mm.
And he would like, see, it doesn't bother Doña. Why does it
Right.
bother you?
Which I
Sir?
hate that so much,
Right.
because
I'm
you
like,
could absolutely be doing something wrong to multiple people, and but because of the fact that this handful of people didn't complain and just this one person did, can't see my pinky, this one person did, then it's like, well, I'm pretty sure they're the issue, not me, because all
right.
these people over here say it's fine, and it's like, or they just haven't been comfortable enough to say anything about it.
Right. And that's what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
found out from other people, nobody liked it.
Right.
But because he was the boss, no one
Mm-hmm.
had the guts to say anything.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, well, this will be a hill that I'll die on,
Right. And I'm gonna just,
and
yeah.
I'll keep saying something, and until the point where, and then no one else still had the courage.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me just leave,
Yeah. I feel that.
and so I ended up leaving pretty much.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna ride this out until I left, and so because it was one of those things that his bothered me a lot because he would come from behind
Mm.
and he would like hit your shoulder or he'd thump your ear. It was unprofessional.
Not your ear.
It
That's
was bad.
uh-uh.
So yeah. But it was one of those things that I just didn't like it. So eventually, for me, it was better for me to just avoid because
Mm.
I was in a position that I could not be confrontational
Yeah.
because he was my boss. He was my direct line supervisor.
Right.
So that happens. It's not always perfect, and it's not always easy to enforce your boundaries. So sometimes you have to just decide
Yeah.
either I'm going to continue to confront this head on,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to limit my time with that person. I'm going to
Right.
limit their access to my
Exactly.
space,
Yep.
even
Limit
if
their
it's your
access.
family.
Yep. Absolutely. Don't matter
It
who
don't
it
sound
is.
nice,
Right.
but
Y'all better listen.
they people, you people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
our human experiences still. I love you, mama. Love me more.
Right.
At
I
the end
love
of the day,
that. I love that.
love you, brother, but I love me
Love me
more. At
more.
the end of the day, I love myself more.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't know how
Absolutely.
the parent to children relation go because I ain't got no kids, but
It's the
I
same.
still try to remind my mama that,
Yeah.
mama, you still gotta love yourself
Yeah.
more than me and my brothers and sisters. Like, mama, for
Mm-hmm.
real, fuck them kids.
I mean,
Sometimes you gotta let us do what we gonna do and just fall on our face.
FTK. It's true.
If
It's
it's
true.
if it's at the expense of your mental health.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been practicing a lot. Oh, Raylene says the whole bosses have on employees to not say anything is horrible. Ain't it though? Ain't it? And it's
Yeah.
so like normalized. That's like me and Spud yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Our morning stream was about people pleasing, and I feel like that relationship, the supervisor employee or supervisor subordinate relationship, is one of the most terrible when it comes to this implied people pleasing. Like you have to do whatever you can to please your boss, to please your supervisor, whatever. When the reality is, nah, dog, all you gotta do is your job.
Right.
All you need to do is your job. That's it. Your super
Unless that is your job.
Right. Exactly. Unless it's your job to please that person. And that would even be something like, you're their, I don't know,
You're their assistant or something. You know what I mean? Like you're there
or their
because
interior
even in the
decorator or
military,
whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
right? In the military, it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we would always do these dog and pony shows, and I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Who? Why?"
Right.
Well, it's an ain't you coming? I'm not,
I'm not.
but and that's why I had to retire because
Won't be there.
I wasn't going to continue to do some
Right.
of the stuff made no sense. And I'm
Absolutely.
like, I'm not doing
Absolutely.
it. No.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
the general's coming. Okay, the general put on his pants one leg at a time, just like me, right?
that part. Y'all recognize the general as a regular person, right? There
Right.
is nothing
I
spectacular about
know.
this
I
person
know
other
and
than
love a
their
lot of them.
rank.
They put their
Right.
pants leg on. They don't even want to do. They don't want you to do all of this.
They
It's
really
one thing
don't.
to have decorum. It's another thing to have a whole dog and pony show production,
Right.
and you got your tongue right in the middle of somebody's crack.
Right.
Nuh-uh. Not
It's too
me.
much. It's too much. Raylene
Because
said,
if you really just did your job right,
yeah,
you would need to.
it's true.
You wouldn't have to go above and beyond.
Right. Man, it's Raylene said, I quit a job for something like that where I was the only one who thought something was wrong and everyone else just put up with it. So disrespectful in there.
I retired from a job like
Right.
that.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
I'm proud of you for
look,
quitting, Raylene. I'm proud of Isha for
My fake
retiring.
NDA probably ain't up yet. Let me not say
Right?
that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we are hitting our 1 hour mark. So we're gonna have to wrap it up. This has been such a wonderful conversation. We ended up with a whole boundary tutorial. Y'all better.
Y'all should have took notes. Rewind
I
that.
know, right?
Rewind it back.
I might make a chapter for the video, for the YouTube video, where the boundary conversation starts. Y'all can just get back to that if y'all want to, just get
Right.
learned up. But I appreciate you, Isah, so much. I will be happy to have you back on. We got to touch back and get the dates together for when you're back in Texas, or when you're here in Costa Rica with a stable connection like you have today. But this has just been
Which,
so
oh my
wonderful.
gosh, God bless his connection, because I
Absolutely.
was worried a little bit.
Yeah. But honestly, that was the primary reason why with everybody, I'm like, all right, let's get on a little bit before, make sure everything is good, But yeah, it's good. It's strong. It's solid.
Yay.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. Fergie says, I love the conversation. Bruce says, we talk about boundaries a lot in my counseling groups. Raylene says, I swear everyone circles back to boundaries. Everything circles back to boundaries. It really does. It really, really does. And I don't remember if it was, I don't know who I was talking to. I have a lot of conversations. That might have been yesterday when I was talking to Spuddy about, the fact that everything is intertwined. Yeah, it was. We can't talk about people pleasing and how to heal from it if we're not talking about boundaries, if we're not talking about, self-love. Like, everything is intertwined. So that trifecta is perfect to really kind of illustrate, the intertwinedness of everything.
Right.
But anywho, it's been beautiful, Isah. Thank you everyone who's been in the chat today, chopping it up, kikiing with us with the sweet and spicy boundary talk. I appreciate you. If you're catching this replay again on YouTube, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have these conversations every single day. If y'all are
Come over to my
interested,
Instagram, y'all.
yes,
Come get some good morning loving.
I was just
Get
about
some
to
good
say,
morning flavors.
I'm gonna have all of Isah's social media, contact information, anything she wants to share with me, to share with y'all in the description of this YouTube video. But yeah, go find her. She phenomenal. Let me see if I could put her in the chat real fast. I think I could do it if I do it on my phone. Let me go to her. Here we go. Look, I got a message up right here. Me talking to you. Perfect. Copy profile URL. Go back to Twitch. All right, cool.
Come get these good morning blessings and good morning
Yes.
smiles. Even if
Follow
you don't
Isah.
listen until the evening or the
Right.
afternoon,
Whenever it works for you.
Right.
Follow Isah on Instagram. If y'all are interested in working with her in any capacity, she teaches yoga in Texas.
And online.
Texas and online. She's also a
Mm-hmm.
personal trainer, which you also do virtually and in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
You'd have
yeah,
to DM me about that, but yes.
sliding her DMs.
Yeah,
She's a
but for the
phenomenal yoga
yoga, I
teacher.
have an entire yoga schedule posted. All on my whole site is just my yoga
Oh, there
scheduling
you go.
stuff.
Hit that
So
link.
I got plenty of classes.
Follow her on YouTube. Follow her on Instagram.
Instagram.
She's amazing. To know her is to love her. I know y'all love her. Y'all loved her today. Anywho, I'm going to just keep talking. So I love you all. Isah, you ain't got to go, but I'm going to end the stream. I love everyone that's here today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting. And I will see y'all all tomorrow.
Hey.
Bye.